Hey everybody, this is Miss Inhabitant, and I'm going to walk you through a little podcast where you can learn more about the differences between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Now, what in the world are prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells? Well, guys, there's two main types of cells, and you'll learn, many of you probably already know, that cells are the basic building block of life. Okay? If we're not including the small little structures within a cell, one cell is the smallest unit of life. And there are two main types of cells. These two main types of cells are called prokaryotic and eukaryotic. The biggest thing that I want you to remember about the difference between these cells, and this is absolutely a clue that you would want to take down in your notes, is pro means no and eu means yes. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, we mean that prokaryotic means no nucleus. Pro means no, no nucleus, and eu means yes, there's a nucleus. Let's take a look at what's going on with these two types of cells. This is an example of a prokaryotic cell. You can see here that it is smaller. This gives you the basic idea of size. It is definitely a smaller cell than this one right here, which is a eukaryotic cell. This is a prokaryotic cell, and we know this not only because of the size, but because of these little squiggly lines right here, which are actually the strands of DNA. They are not enclosed in a nucleus. There's nothing wrapping around them, keeping them all together. Whereas in over here, we see we have a definitely distinctly defined nucleus. It is contained, and we also have these other little things called organelles that have little membranes around them or coverings that are holding them all together. Okay, so let's take a look again at the main difference. This is going to be an example of our, think of it in your own mind. This is our prokaryotic cell. You can also see it right down there. And this, of course, is our eukaryotic cell. If you haven't practiced saying that out loud, I want you to try that now. Let's say prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Okay, if you read over some information up here, you can see that the main difference between these two types of cells is prokaryotic ones right here do not have a nuclear membrane, meaning they don't have a defined nucleus. Pro means no. Eukaryotes do have a defined nucleus as well as other little membrane covered organelles. Now you can see that this prokaryotic cell does have a cell membrane. It is being held together as a cell, and it is defined as a cell, but it is just a very unique type of cell that are usually found in our bacteria kingdoms, which we'll learn more about this year, archaebacteria and eubacteria. If I scroll down for you, you're going to see a nice graphic organizer that gives some other details. Let's look at the difference between a prokaryotic and a eukaryotic cell. Prokaryotes, again, the ones pro means what? No nucleus. These are very minute in size, and eukaryotics are fairly large in size. Now remember, when we say that a cell is large in size, it is still extremely microscopic, but it is much larger than a prokaryotic cell. Again, the big difference here is the nucleus. Pro means no, no nucleus, and eu means yes, that material is surrounded by a nuclear membrane. Prokaryotic cells have a single chromosome present, and a eukaryotic cell is going to have more than one chromosome present. What does this mean? Well, if we scroll back up, remember these squiggly lines right here, that's the genetic material. That's what's passing along the genetic information. This is one single chromosome that kind of coils all the way around. And then, of course, here, it depends on the organism we're looking at, but we have, for humans, an example, we've got as many as 46 total chromosomes in our regular body cells. Okay? So here's the main difference. Pro means no, eu means yes. Prokaryotic means no nucleus. Eukaryotic means yes, there is a nucleus. I want you to think for yourself, which one would you believe to be the more complex, meaning capable of more organized forms of life? If you guessed a eukaryotic cell, you would be absolutely correct. We have eukaryotic cells, of course, because we are the most complex kingdom Animalia. Our cells do have a nucleus. They are larger than a prokaryotic cell, and our DNA and our genetic material is enclosed within a nuclear membrane. Okay, make sure that you've jotted down any questions that you have. If you've not jotted down some notes, now would be a great time to go back, rewind, and do so. There is this graphic organizer here, but do not write these words if you do not understand what they mean. Remember, the goal is to condense and make it make sense to you. So here's your 5 R's. You should record this information if you haven't already. You should reduce this information by summarizing and making it make sense to you. You should recite this information. This podcast is about 6.5 minutes. That leaves you, about 10 minutes where you can continue to recite this out loud. Teach it to somebody else. Go find somebody. I want you to reflect on it. What about this makes sense to you? What questions do you need to ask me tomorrow? And I want you, of course, to make sure you put this in a safe place so it will be available for you to review. This will be a huge part of what we talk about when we get into our kingdoms, which kingdoms are prokaryotic and which kingdoms are eukaryotic. And all that we are going to be focusing on over the next couple of weeks are eukaryotic cells, looking closely at these organelles that you see, for example, here. Okay, have a great afternoon or a great evening. Highlight those questions, and I'll see you tomorrow.